So I've got Dr. Khalid Sohail here. He is a psychotherapist and he's been working here in Canada for past 40 years. He has published more than 70 books. I'm reading a few of his books, but one of my favorites so far is The Seeker. I have read a bit of it so far. He's very intellectual, very intelligent man here, and I have few questions to ask from him. Um, I think our young generation suffers a lot from depression, anxiety, loneliness, and many more new mental health stuff. And I think there's not much awareness about it, especially in our Pakistani community as well. So I'd love to ask you questions, and if you can enlighten me with it, please. Number one question would be: we live in such a busy world, so people are so busy working and they're so busy doing a lot of other things, following their dreams and stuff. But there's a point in your life when you feel lonely. Suddenly you're like, okay, I've achieved everything I wanted in my life. Or even if you haven't, you suddenly feel very lonely, even though you have the support of your family, friends, but you just feel so empty. You know that feeling? How can you cope with it? What would you say about that?
Thank you very much, Sharez. You are too generous with your compliments. I don't deserve that much. I just
Yes.
consider myself a humble student of life, human psychology. I'm just sort of learning every day, and then whatever I learn, I like to share with my students, friends. So when you mentioned the word loneliness, the person who came to my mind, his name was Harry Stark Sullivan. He was an American psychotherapist, psychiatrist. He was the first one who said that our human problem, the most serious psychological problem, is not anxiety, it's not depression, it's not anger, it's loneliness. So he considered that as number one, and he felt that many mental health professionals and books do not talk about it. So you are very accurate in highlighting. And that loneliness is not only being alone, it is being aware that you do not have a deep emotional connection with another human being. So a person can be married and still lonely. A person can be living in a family and still lonely. A person can be a member of a community and still lonely.
Yes.
And sometimes that loneliness is worse. I remember a couple in my clinic when the wife left the husband, she told him, she said, when I was alone, I was lonely. And I'm married to you, and I'm still lonely. And this loneliness living with you is worse
Yeah.
than when I was alone.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that connection. You do not know how I think, how I feel, how I connect. So that to me is the awareness. And I think anybody who's aware of that loneliness, then the second question is, what do you do with that? And I think the answer to that loneliness is a relationship that we would call a loving relationship. And again, I want to quote Harry Stark Sullivan. Somebody asked him, what is love?
Yeah.
What is a loving relationship? And he said that when the satisfaction and security of another person becomes as important as your own satisfaction and security, then you are in love.
Okay.
So this is the compassion, this is the empathy, that
Yeah.
you value, you respect, you care for another person. So when you have that connection, that is the antidote, that is the cure. So I think if we have half a dozen loving relationships in our life,
Yeah.
it could be family, it could be neighbors, it could be friends, it could be a sweetheart, that I call family of the heart. So I'm very much in favor of having a family of the heart that is different than the blood family.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we do not connect with the blood
Of course.
family.
Yeah.
So I think that loneliness is very crucial in our mental health and dealing with that. And the answer is to be part of loving relationships, creating a family of the heart so that we feel understood,
Yeah.
we feel respected, we feel loved, we feel cared for. So that's my brief answer.
But I just want to ask you, because you said that loneliness is about being with someone who can make you feel lonely, even if you're with people, right? But don't you think that we should have a wholesome relationship with ourselves? That even if someone is not providing us what we want, we should be alone, but we should be happy within ourselves. We should build this Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? Now, this is another topic as well, where you can fall in love with yourself in a narcissistic way. Definitely not talking about that it's all about you, but a wholesome love. Do you think it's an important thing to have, to love yourself?
Yeah, I think that
Self-love.
self-love is very important, self-respect is very important, self-worth is very important,
Yeah.
self-confidence, self-image is very important. So I think two people who have that self-respect and that self-love, when they meet, then that's a different kind of relationship.
Exactly.
So jokingly I say that some people fall in love while others grow in love. So we need that growing together, I believe, is better than growing alone. So we can grow alone and we can grow with someone, but growing together is only possible with that person who values that. Even your private time, that if you want to, even if you're married, if you need me time, then the other person does not feel insecure.
Yeah.
Say, oh, you're deserting me, you're rejecting me. They respect your me time, your private time. So this is a bit complex topic, but I agree with you that I think we need to be comfortable with ourselves,
Yeah.
and then sort of connect with that person who also values that.
Yeah, and for when you talk about self-love, let's not go in detail, but if I ask you in a short answer that how do you fall in love with yourself, what would you say? Because we read, I read a lot. There are a lot of quotes on Instagram, Facebook, a lot of books talking about self-love. But how do you actually fall in love with yourself?
I believe that every human being is born with a special gift.
Yeah,
Some people are artists, some are musicians, some are philosophers, some are sports people. Now, if we are lucky to grow up in a family where our mother and father and grandparents and aunts and uncles or teachers, they pick that. So, for example, my uncle highlighted that I could be a writer.
yeah,
The same way your aunt sort of stressed and observed. But those people who are not lucky to have those teachers or parents or aunts and uncles, then as an adult, they don't love themselves. They have not discovered. They feel life is a waste of time. Life
Yeah.
is meaningless. Life is purposeless. Life has no goal. So I suggest to them that the first step is to know, ask yourself, what is the special gift? If somebody believes in God, they can say, what God gave you the special gift? If they believe in nature, they believe in genetics, whatever they believe in, that nature has given each one of us a special gift. When we recognize that, for me, I know I could be a good writer and I could be a good therapist. These are two gifts nature has given me. And because I have acknowledged that, accepted that, so I have made my life more meaningful by two things of a successful life. One is passion,
yeah,
and the other is compassion.
yeah,
So I'm passionate about my creative writing, and I'm compassionate about helping my patients and their families. So I think people who, number one, have recognized, identified their special gift.
yeah,
Number two, they feel passionate about it.
yeah,
And number three, they serve humanity and the community with compassion. So when these three comes together, then people like themselves, they respect others, they serve the community, and they have a meaningful, purposeful life.
All right, that makes sense. So, and how would you know when you are grown up in a family where you don't receive love? It's just that when you're very unhappy, because you're with a family, but you feel so unhappy. Is that how you know? How would you know that you're not grown up in a loving family? Because again, the kind of culture and the community we come from, religion based, as well, we are told that they're your parents. So listen to your parents, whatever they say. So how can you tell yourself, my parents are wrong here? How would you know? How would you know that this is not healthy for you?
I think as a child, from age 0 to age 10, children are like a sponge, they absorb.
Yeah,
Again, I mentioned Harry Stack Sullivan before. He was the one who introduced a concept of good me and bad me. He said that when parents or the teachers tell a child that you are smart, you're intelligent, you're good looking, then after a while the child internalizes.
yeah,
From you are good looking, you are smart, you're intelligent, the child internalizes, I'm smart, I'm good looking, I'm intelligent, I'm wonderful. So that makes the good me.
yeah,
And if child is unfortunate and the parents, the teachers tell them, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're a failure, you're no good, then the child internalizes that. and his self-esteem becomes worse. He says, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm no good, I'm a failure, I made my parents' life miserable. So when they become teenagers, then in a healthy person, good me is far bigger than bad me. But in an unhealthy person, the bad me is bigger than good me.
Yeah.
But the good point is that as a teenager or as a young adult, we are able to review. We have the capacity of abstract thinking. We have the capacity of critical thinking. We have the capacity to review and reflect our past. And I think most people that I have met, they are able to do that, to question their conditioning. Because we are conditioned as a child. Religious, spiritual, social, cultural, political conditioning. So as a teenager, when we are from age 14 to 21, that is the age we can reflect, we can review, and the peer support. If you have friends who are reflecting, reviewing their past, then they can do that. And then I think, then there is a choice to make. Can we keep on falling blindly on what our parents and our culture said, or we can connect with other people who are more enlightened, who are more think logically, rationally. So then we can review our life and then create a new life, So that's what the key is.
Yeah, right. So we have spoken about obviously love and self-love. Now let's talk about respect, because that's another thing which is lacking in a lot of people. How would you respect yourself and how would you respect others? What is actually a true respect? What is the meaning of it?
I think respect comes from ability to be unique, ability to be different. So when we grow up in a very sort of traditional culture, we are expected to follow whatever from generations what people are saying. And if you are different in whichever way you are unique, we mentioned earlier that most of the people are right-handed. So if a child is born left-handed, then that child in the school or at home is penalized. Don't eat with the left hand. Not knowing that it is as natural for this child to be left-handed, for most people right-handed. The same way most of the people are heterosexual, they fall in love with the opposite sex. But there are others who are homosexual. For them, they don't fall in love with the opposite sex. They're in the same gender. Now we will talk about the transgender and all that. So I think respect is that we accept the differences and not force, not be self-righteous, not try to convert them. We say live and let live. That I follow my heart, you follow your heart, I follow my conscience, you follow your conscience, and we can have a dialogue, we can agree to disagree. So respect is the difference of opinion is not animosity. Just because, like in Pakistan, just because you are politically different, just because you are religiously different, just because professionally different, that does not mean that I am your enemy. Democracy is based on dialogue. Respect is based on a dialogue. To giving the other person the opportunity to fully express and to listen, to be tolerant, to be respectful of the differences. That I consider respect of listening and respecting other person's opinion even when we disagree. That's freedom of expression. This is democracy. Even in a loving relationship, husband and wife, father and son, daughter and mother, that we can have an honest adult to adult dialogue rather than the parent-child relationship. You should do this, you should not do this. If you did that, you're going to burn in hell. If you do this, you're a traitor. If you think you're a kafir, if you do this. So we curtail the critical thinking. Nations are built, science, psychology, philosophy is based, the foundation is questioning. We need to question the traditions. Keep the good traditions, and unjust traditions we let go and have new traditions. So this to me is respect at individual level and respect at the community level.
So respect the person for who they really are. Don't try to change them. And that's called respect, right? So that's how you're saying. Okay, that's beautiful. So, because, perfect. You have answered that very beautifully. Another question would be after respect, and I think once you self-love and you're grown up in a good family or not, you start, you self-love, and then you learn what is respect. Let's talk about boundaries. Now, that's a very common subject, but also very uncommon in Pakistan, especially. A lot of people don't know what a boundary is. So, to me, I think a boundary is something you're like, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't. So respect that. So how would you say, what is a boundary and how do one respect a boundary? Is it the same, that be who you are, or is there more to it?
You see, boundaries, there are physical boundaries, there are emotional boundaries, there are social boundaries. For example, this is my letter.
Yeah.
If somebody opens the letter,
Yeah.
somebody checks my email, somebody goes into my cell phone,
Yeah.
that is crossing the boundary. That is not respecting somebody's. So if I have to see somebody read somebody's letter,
Yeah.
or go into somebody's room, or
Yeah.
read her email,
Yeah.
every woman I dated in my life, I never asked her
Yeah.
what her password is. I never asked her what her email address is. But if she wants to share, she wants to share. But there are so many spouses, so many girlfriends and boyfriends.
Yeah.
They go behind the back and check their email, check their phone, cell phone. So this is one aspect of boundary.
Okay. Yeah.
The second is, respecting, even for example, wearing clothes is simple.
Yeah.
If you want to wear somebody's clothes, you want to ask them. The same way when you're visiting somebody, that respecting their time. Most people don't respect the time and even the punctuality. To me, if I promise to go somewhere at 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
then I should be there at 7 o'clock. Try my best.
Yeah.
So I think this, whether it's financial, checking somebody's bank account, checking somebody's email, respecting their sort of, give you an example. Many teenagers write diaries. They write their personal stories in the diaries.
Of course.
And somebody comes and reads the diary.
Yeah.
Not only reads it, but tells everybody else.
Yeah.
That is the violation of the boundary. So I think knowing that, Confucius said, treat others the way you like to be treated. So I do not want anybody to read my diary, open my letter, check my email. So this is the respect for the other person, that I respect their boundaries, that they have a personal territory. I can only go. I was teaching a child, teaching her that, sweetheart, in the house there are public places. I told her kitchen and living room are public places. Washroom and bedroom are private spaces. So you only enter the washroom and the bedroom by knocking. You knock first.
Yeah.
And if they let you in, then you come in. You just don't barge in.
So true.
That is the violation of the law. So it's a very complex subject. I just wanted to make it in a simple way. But I think respecting boundaries on both sides of a respectful relationship is very essential for a healthy relationship.
That's right. Okay. And now another question. A lot of people want to be in a relationship, a lot of people want to be happy, and that's very normal. At one of your age, you reach a certain age where you're like, okay, you know what? I want to settle down now. I want to get married, or I want to have a boyfriend. I want to have a girlfriend. Whatever it is, any type of relationship between these two, how would you know that this is the person for me? Obviously, they're not holding a signboard, that I'm healthy. Because you can meet a lot of people who are very narcissistic, very manipulative. They can lie to you. And, for example, if, I have been in relationships before, and I have asked, a few different girls that, oh, what do you like? What do you want to do in your life? And they have given me the answers. I believed in them and I went with it. But after a few months, I realized that, okay, this is all lie. This is not what they want. They had a hidden agenda. How would you know? How would you really know a person that they're not basically lying to you and they're honest about it? How would you know? Spending more time, or what would you say?
I stress 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
First is, to me, love is not a noun, it is a verb.
Yeah.
So it's not the words. Anybody can say words. It is the action. And how do you judge the action? The first thing is the promise. If the person promises anything, then to wait whether he or she fulfills the promise. That's the step number 1. Step number 2, I feel, in my opinion, that in a loving relationship, in an intimate relationship, I call it friendship is the cake, romance is the icing.
Okay.
So if I cannot be friends with a person, if I cannot have a heart-to-heart talk, doesn't matter how attracted I am to her, how lustfully, I'm drawn to her, if I feel there is no emotional connection, there is no deeper connection, then that lust will only last honeymoon period.
Yeah.
And then after that it will go away.
Yeah.
The third thing is that some people think that hate is opposite to love. I think hate is the other side of love. There are more intense emotions. Opposite of love is indifference, apathy, when you don't care. So many people, they say they love you, then they become very angry, they become resentful. As I mentioned in my article, that most people have superficial love. So in the superficial love, you feel insecure. In the superficial love, you feel jealous.
Yeah.
In the superficial love, you try to control the other person.
Yeah.
It is the deeper love. The deeper love is when you respect yourself and you respect the other person. You love yourself and you love the other person. The deep love sets you free. It does not control you. So it's the opposite. In the superficial love, you want to make the other person like you. You want them to do everything to make you happy.
Yeah.
But in the deep love, you are concerned about the other person's love,
Yeah.
other person's respect, other person's happiness. So you are aware of the small thing that the other person does, and you do it willingly, lovingly, because you want to make them happy. But in a superficial love, you are trying to control, you're trying to, all that kind of thing. So I feel that intuitively, as we get experience, then intuitively we know, can this person be our friend? And if we are attracted to that person and if it's mutual.
Yeah.
Many people have one-sided love. They love somebody and it is not reciprocated. And they keep on falling.
Yeah.
And they think they're going to convince. That is why the word stalking came into it. People are stalking and they think, or they are jealous. So they think stalking and jealousy, they think, is like a sign of love.
Yeah.
I say it is a sign of lack of love.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you really genuinely, deeply love somebody, you're not jealous. So I sort of poetically say that one is the candle that you want to keep in your living room, and one is the moon. Moon is for everybody, sort of it shares its light for everybody. So what happens is the same qualities that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
After 6 months or 9 months, you want to control that. So the young man is very charming, or the woman is very charming. So you fell in love with the charming self.
Yeah.
And after 9 months, when he or she is charming with other people, then you become jealous. Then you say, no, now you stick to me and no, don't talk to this man, don't talk to this woman, don't visit them, don't go for dinner, don't go for whatever. So you are trying to control that. Somebody said about jealousy that, I don't know who is the philosopher, who said, there is more self-love than love in jealousy. So I feel that a genuine person who is in love or who is experienced, he or she is not insecure. They don't try to follow each minute and each hour where he or she is going, what they're doing, who are they talking to. They basically trust the other person.
So basically, you're saying that in happy relationship, happy marriage, one should not be jealous. That's a red flag. So if you feel that they're jealous, okay, it's a big no. They should be secure. They should respect your boundaries. And you should be friends with them. So you should be able to express
and
who you really
help
are.
each other, so if I'm in love with the woman, then I want to help her grow on her own. Like there might be things she's interested that I'm not interested in. So I'm helping her grow.
Of course.
And she's helping me grow. So we are both helping each other grow independently, and then we can grow together. Like there are things that we do together. But it is not that she's tied to my ankle and everything I do she has to do and everything she does I have to do. So I think that is basically love of two mature people as compared to love or lust or whatever you want to call it of two immature people. So
Okay, another thing I'll talk about this. For example, you are in a relationship now, and everything you said is going great, right? There is respect, there is love, and everything is going great. But sometimes, of course, not every day is a Christmas day, right? There are problems. But do you think that when in a relationship, if you have any kind of problems, do you think two people should be able to sit down and talk about it over and over again and come up with a solution? Or do you think they should start talking about their personal life with their parents, with their friends, telling everyone, oh, I have this problem, and then find a solution?
In our clinic, when we try to help couples who have marital problems, we make two suggestions to each couple. First suggestion is that once a week they go on a date.
Okay, yeah.
Because it started with dating.
Yeah.
That dating once a week, in which they go for a walk, go for a dinner, go for a lunch, go to a movie, just to have fun.
Exactly.
By having a date, they put something good in their emotional bank account.
Yeah.
Then the second part is, once a week they should have a meeting, a green zone meeting, in which they discuss the problems. So they learn the communication to resolve conflicts. For a healthy relationship, whatever the issue is, it could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be sexual, it could be family thing. A healthy couple should be able to resolve their conflict. They should have a they should have a communication that resolves. And how does it do it? We have a formula that we teach our couples. We call it A, B, and C.
Yeah.
A, B, and C means one person has an A opinion, the other has a B opinion. So usually what they do, A tries to convince B and B tries to convince A.
Yeah.
We tell them that there is a C that is in a potential solution in which there is a mixture of A and B, 50-50, 60-40, 80-70,
Yeah.
70-30. So those couples who can come to a C solution,
Yeah.
that is a win-win situation that both parties can live with that. It's not ideal, but that's realistic.
Yeah.
Those couples can do that. And if they want to get some help, I think they should get professional help. They should go to a professional counselor,
Okay.
not to this uncle and aunt and neighbor and sister-in-law and
Yeah.
brother-in-law. Those families complicate. Many marriages would have been saved, but they got ruined by these extended families. So I think I don't support
So true.
this discussion with these extended families, because
Yeah.
those are not professionals. They have their own biases. They have their own issues. So couple who has a problem, a relationship problem, they should go and see a professional. So I think at this stage we should end this interview. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much.